Start that over.
Pardon?
Say it again.
Say it again.
Okay. Call this meeting of the Board of Adjustment to order. Was this meeting properly noticed?
Yes, it was.
Would you do a roll call of members present?
Yes, Benkowski, Bula. Here. Caldwell.
Here.
Kraus.
Here,
All here.
we need a motion to approve the agenda as written.
So move. Second.
Any changes, any comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We need to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
So move.
Okay, so she had it first, you'll
Oh,
be
I'm sorry.
second.
No, she was actually pointing at the flag, I
Oh.
think.
It's been omitted.
You can still do it as
You
the
can, we
chair.
can still do it.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I didn't see it on the, okay. I would, everybody present to stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. Please turn off your cell phones. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of
the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Sorry about that, we got off track. Have to reprimand the secretary. No coffee for all week.
Right.
Okay,
Okay. We need a motion to approve the minutes as written.
we did that.
Did you vote on it? Did they
Yeah,
vote?
they
Okay. Yeah, on to the next one, on to the public hearings.
Pardon?
We did that one.
Did it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, right before
Oh,
the,
we
yeah.
gotta get up. I get lost there. Old people, go figure. Okay, maybe we adjourn to the public hearing.
Okay. So the first application is for Travis and Elaine Miller. It's an after-the-fact special exception request under section 405-12C of the Adams County Comprehensive Ordinance to allow an accessory structure on property without a residence located in the northeast quarter, section 16, town 16 north, range 6 east, Easton Forest subdivision. Address is 2629 10th Ave, town of Easton. The applicant is online. This is for a 10 by 28 accessory building that was actually put on by a previous owner without a permit. By the time, or when I found the violation, it was a new owner, and Mr. Miller is going through the process to ask for approval of that. Mr. Miller, if there's anything you'd like to add to that?
It sounded pretty thorough. Good morning.
He's got to turn his volume up. I can't hear him.
Audio.
Turn your volume up.
Yes, ma'am.
It might be me. Oh,
Is that any better?
There, I can hear it now.
Better?
yep.
Okay, I said good morning. Sounded pretty thorough to me.
Anything else you'd like to add on that?
I went to the meeting with the town of Easton, and they at first they told me they all planned on voting no, but after talking and whatnot, they all changed and they approved it. So now it's up to you guys, I guess.
We did not. Oh, never mind. And I did forget to add that the town of Easton does not object. That was at their September 19th meeting. And I did not receive any other correspondence.
How old is this shed?
How old is the shed, Mr. Miller?
I think he put it. It's got to be less than 2 years, I guess. He put it on there like the year before I bought it, or like a year and a half before I bought it, and he bought it brand new.
And there is a picture, I believe, in the. Okay.
I have a question about, it was unclear to me when I read through that if there there was a resident on this property or there was not?
There is not, and that's why he's here.
Okay.
Yep.
I wasn't clear. I didn't aware of the non-compliance when you bought the property with the shed on it.
I was not aware.
Okay.
And what's in that building?
A lawnmower and other things for doing, for keeping the lawn up, because it's got a big open field that needs to be mowed. So there's a lawnmower, there's some grass seed in there, there's things like that.
Have you plans to put a permanent residence on that property?
It is in the talks between me and my wife. We were thinking about adding a pond and a barn dominium style home to it. But right now I'm actually a home builder and I'm probably booked out 2.5, almost 3 years right now. So even if I do, it's going to be a little while.
And you said that you had plans of cleaning that shed out, and as I recall, putting mobility type.
Yeah, my wife is in a wheelchair and I put her mobility equipment in there as well.
I just wanted to know that it wasn't mobility equipment pertaining to a business.
No, sir. This is private.
It's not.
Did you get the backside of that page?
The first time I did not.
Okay, because it does talk about that. On the front side, it says be properly maintained to hold mobility equipment.
Oh, goodness.
And then on the back side, it says for my disabled wife, it'll also hold property maintenance equipment. All right,
I didn't see that.
yep. Nope, that's why I wanted to make sure you saw it.
Well, we do meet one of the criteria of variance, handicap.
It's not a variance. It's a special exception.
So it's-
Yep. But yeah, that, I mean, you guys can discuss. I just want to make sure you're clear on that. And
How is that zoned? Is it A3 or something?
no, all the ag districts allow for,
It's R1 residential.
Yep. all the ag districts allow for a shed before a house. The residential districts do not.
I don't think A3 does.
Yes, all districts other than residential allow for a house or allow for a shed before a house. Residential does not.
I thought when you got to A3, it was like, it was less than 15 acres and then
Nope.
you had,
Nope, only residential has that limitation.
So if it's zone residential, you can't put up a structure first. A shed.
Correct, and then the next sentence in the ordinance says you can apply for a special exception to do so, which is what this process is.
Because I have a lot of property there where he's at and around the corner going that way with lots of campers. You're allowed how many campers?
Two,
Two.
which is a separate matter than this, but yep,
Right, okay. Well, that's what I'm curious of how many he's gonna plan on putting on there.
he knows the ordinance says two, and
Okay. Okay.
do you want to open it up to the public for comment now?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So anybody online or in the room that would like to speak in favor of the request, you are limited to 3 minutes, and please state your name and address.
My name is Michael Macavella, 2650 10th Avenue, and I approve it. Since it's up there already and it's for a handicapped person.
Are there any other, thank you. Are there any other citizens that would like, or members of the public that would like to weigh in on this matter?
Paula Macavella.
What was the first name?
Paula Macavella.
Okay,
So the 2650 10th Avenue. So this is simply just to request that the shed be allowed to stay?
yes.
Okay, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
I told her I was coming, so I don't know why she called. But that's okay.
It appears there are no other members of the public. The other one is an applicant. And
I have a question. On your form here, it says a special exception is gonna expire in 2 years, so is that,
If it's not used,
if it's not unless substantial work has commenced,
the shed's there, so it's done.
it's done.
Yeah, it doesn't expire. If,
I'm just
Well,
saying,
yeah.
that might be worded a little bit.
right, so if substantial work hasn't been done, meaning it's vacant, he wants to put a shed on, you guys approve it, and he doesn't do it for 2 years,
Oh, doesn't do it, doesn't.
because there's no substantial work,
Do it, okay.
it goes away. In this case, the work's already been done, so it satisfies that.
Okay, I wanted to-
Yep, so it doesn't expire in this case.
Do you have any antis?
I've talked to all the members of the public, it looks like. So we can close the public portion and the board can deliberate or ask other questions, whatever.
I want to say that I read it, that it get some things, I'd like to make a motion also. That's part, I think, of what the BOA is about, you know, is to take a condition like this. The guy didn't know where to work for the people within the guidelines. And I'd like to make a motion without conditions that we approve this special exception.
I'll second that motion.
You have a motion and a second
Okay.
to approve?
Any other comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
All right, and we can now work on your issuing the zoning permit for that.
Okay,
did
thank you
approve.
very much.
All right, I'll be in touch, or we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
The next applicant is for Stephen and Wilhelmina Dykes. It's a variance request under section 405-34E6 of the Adams County Comprehensive Ordinance and section 396-60A6 of the Adams County Shoreline Wetland and Habitat Protection Ordinance to allow a reduced setback for an accessory building to the property line on property located in the southeast quarter, northwest quarter, section 17, town 14 north, range 6 east, lot 3, CSM 5822. The address is 1186 Gillette Drive in the town of Del Prairie. The applicant currently has a residence there and they are adding on a addition and a garage? Yes. And it ends up being with the overhang. What was the final number?
2 feet.
The building itself will be 10 feet.
The building will be 10 foot off the foundation. The architect messed up and didn't consider the overhang.
Right.
And one corner could be up to 18 inches and everything else by falling in 12 inches or less.
So the building itself, and our ordinance does require that the closest part of the structure, which is why he's here applying for the variance. But the building itself, it does actually meet the required setbacks. And
It's just the eve, right?
the overhang, yeah. And I did receive from the town of Del Prairie, they do not object to the request. It is a smaller footprint in the,
It's because we're moving the garage that's currently overhangs 3 foot from the property line.
that's what it was.
And the addition would fall within that foot of the actual setback, even though on my paperwork I put easement in there because I got confused.
And that's what they wrote. So it's a smaller footprint in the easement than the existing garage is. What I think they're meaning is the existing garage that's been there for a long time is a lot closer than 10 feet to the property line. That's going away if they're allowed to do this. So it actually moves structures away from the property line more than they are already. And the town of Del Prairie approved that at their August 16th meeting. Tim Molesky would be a neighbor,
He's 2 houses
Okay.
away from us.
and he does not have any objections. That's the only correspondence I received on that.
And my neighbor, Frank Nicar, that's the one that would actually be right next to you. He talked to me and he said he had no problem, but he wasn't gonna come.
All right.
He's 87 years old.
So are we saying, is this building coming down?
Yes,
So then everything's within the setback
Except for the overhang.
for the overhang, okay.
that's what it is, right? So this one will go away. This is all new. And then there's an overhang that will actually extend, like you said, about 18 inches. And obviously the applicants are here. Yeah. Questions?
Yeah, I got a little input. We just got finished with the hearing and the guy bought his property. In violation. And we have the opportunity here to make a structure that's in full compliance, but we got this little bit. And you'd be behooved to not, if you sold this ever in the future, inform the buyer, oh, it's in non. So I'm just saying, if it was me, I'd scoop my garage away from the river, keep it up against your house enough that you can bring that overhang in compliance. And then you're in total compliance. So when you sell a property, you don't have to explain a situation.
Is that an issue, what Robert's talking about, that if we approve this, they sell, should still be okay, right?
Oh, yeah, it does. I don't think that's exactly what he's getting at. It a variance does carry over. The property owner doesn't matter. But once a variance is granted, it becomes a conforming structure. I mean, the tag you would put on it is conforming.
Never be disputed in the future. We can
Right, well, and plus this,
put it on the deed that it's conforming structure.
it wouldn't be on the deed if we have this that says it. I mean, if you guys were to approve it, somebody could say, well, how'd that get built? Well, right here, it says they could be 9 feet from the property line.
They didn't have to declare.
Nope.
No responsibility.
No. And if somebody ever called and said, well, God, that garage looks too close. Yeah, it was built legally. It's
Planning and zoning.
right. And we get that call occasionally. But yeah, it's an older structure and then they adopt zoning. That's, well, okay, like the garage that's already existing. That's a legal non-conforming structure. There's certain restrictions put on that building because it was fine when you put it up. The laws changed. Now it's not okay, but you don't have to like remove it. In this case, once a variance is granted, it becomes a conforming structure.
How about maintenance of that structure? Is that in any way involved?
Ordinary maintenance, well, on this one or the existing garage?
On this one?
Oh, this is perfectly legal because you guys are actually modifying the ordinance to fit it in this specific
We're
case.
not talking building, we're talking over.
Well, but either way.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Don't confuse that.
Well, I'm confused, yeah.
Okay.
Now, on the existing garage, there are some limitations. He could do siding, roofing, but if he wanted to make it larger, there could be some limitations because, yeah, it's fine the way it is. But if you want to alter it,
Well, you're on a roll here. That's great. I'm enjoying it. And a conservancy or like in habitat protection areas where a building is over the 75-foot mark, then they can no longer do maintenance on that building up to a certain amount of money. And then
actually, if it's just in too close to the 70, or if it's closer to 75,
Yeah.
it's unlimited. Where that limit comes in is if it's also in the floodplain, which is then you can only go up to half of the value.
How much?
No, nothing. Yeah, different story.
How much of this have you started on?
We're waiting for the Board of
Yeah.
Adjustments to either approve or disapprove, and then we drop our application for the addition.
You haven't started construction?
No.
We're not allowed to until.
Let me ask you this question.
Sure.
Would it be a big inconvenience for you to move the back of the garage, move the whole garage ahead 14 inches or whatever you need to make that clearance?
So what's happened is we went to general engineering in the first place out of Portage. They did the certified survey in 2015. We requested them to build this addition, everything to fit within that. They messed that up. So then we went back and paid more money to them to try to readjust everything and reduce it. And we ran into where the entrance door, the way going down to the basement would run right into the wall. You wouldn't have anything.
Okay.
So if we adjusted anything, it would be the 2-car garage, which would then be 2 foot shorter. And it wouldn't really be a 2-car garage. And then we would just tore down a 2-car garage to build a 1.5-car garage. And so our thoughts are, since we're really going to be 9 foot from the property line instead of the existing 3 foot, that this was worth requesting.
Because the existing garage is already way over the easement. So it's the setback. So closer to the neighbor's property.
Yeah.
So with that garage being moved, then now we're only having at the most at one corner, 18 inches. But overall, maybe just 12 inches. But if you look at the property line and the house itself, it's just that corner. It's not the whole, soffit and fascia.
Okay, do you have, you want to open up the meeting? Oh, I'm sorry.
There aren't any members of the public
No?
online. There's an applicant and somebody, you, I think. Are there any members of the public wishing to speak on this matter? Any members of the public wishing to speak on this matter? Any members of the public wishing to speak on this matter? Close the public portion of the hearing?
What about the antis? No?
None. Nobody commented either way, so.
All right. We need a motion to approve or disapprove.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, motion to made a second to approve. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
You're done.
All right.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
now it's permit
See you
time.
again.
Yeah, nice to see you. Thank you.
Now we have to make it to Madison by 1:00.
Yeah.
Plenty of,
Yeah.
So then Dustin, we'll just wait for something. Can I submit the application?
just start the applications now.
All right, thank you all.
All right, thank you. Have a good day.
The next applicant is Christopher Rohde. It's a variance request under section 405-34E3 of the Adams County Comprehensive Ordinance and section 396-8A3B of the Adams County Shoreline Wetland and Habitat Protection Ordinance to allow a reduced setback from proposed home to the center line of the road on property located in part of the government lot 3, section 11, town 15 north, range 7 east, lot 27, block 3, Crystal Beach subdivision. The address is 3134 Taylor Avenue in the town of Jackson. You should have received all kinds of maps, and I do see the applicant online.
Yes.
There is a certified survey map showing where the proposed house would be. The one question I did have on all of it, Chris, there's pointing towards Taylor Ave. There's boxes out there for 27 feet and 23 feet. Where is that measurement to?
So it's from the center, the corner, the estimated corner of the house to the center of the street at both the south and the north corners of the house. So I measured all 4 corners to that. So it's the street is kind of on an angle, as well as the house is probably going to be on some slight of an angle to maintain the 10 feet setback from the back neighbor's lot.
And how far is it to the front property line then?
From like the edge of the street?
Well,
Or-
there's an actual property line there. The reason I'm asking is because the roadway appears to be 25 wide. Not just the paved, but the actual
Yeah.
roadway.
Right.
So if you're measuring to the center line of the road at 23, you'd actually be, is my math right? 10.5 feet to the front property line.
Yes.
Okay.
Does he realize that it's 63 feet because he had said during the county or the town meeting, 2 feet is what he's asking.
Well, I want to ask some questions. It's the east line, right?
No, it'd be the setback to the road on the west.
On the west.
Yes, on the west, on the Taylor Avenue.
And I did receive some correspondence. The town of Jackson,
They were saying that because it was a subdivision, it only needed to be like 2 feet from the edge of the road. Is what they were saying during the town hall meeting that I was at.
which I'm not sure what they were referring to on that. They did submit this on September 13th. However,
Yes.
they didn't mark whether they object or not.
The only thing they stated is that there was other homes closer to the road.
Right. I guess at that point, I would leave it up to the town or the board. That's the information we received. That was from the applicant. I did receive, this is a declaration of objection to variance as well as any residential build at 3134 Taylor. I feel the property variance request should be denied, as well as to be denied for any construction, since I feel that due to the fact that the properties were subdivided into parcels that at a past date, which subjected the Goose Lake area to overcrowding. This request only adds to overcrowding of the entire area. Please consider this opposition and indictment of Adams County failure to address updating parameters for new builds. And that is from Don Holman, and his address is 314 North Shore Drive, which would be probably just about around the corner. Or
Yeah.
pretty close by. And then I did also receive phone call from, what?
My computer just died. It wasn't,
Like dead died?
had the battery. I thought she had done them all, but it didn't do it, so I'm out.
Can you still hear us, Chris?
I can still hear you.
You only need me to do the record and everything, and I can't.
Huh. Okay. Well, take notes.
The
So,
recording button is still up there on the top left corner. Still says it's recording.
Weird. Oh yeah, it does, doesn't it?
I think it's probably because it's in the program.
I'm a co-host, I bet.
Yes.
Okay, let's go with that. So I also received a phone call from Kathleen Nuttall. She's an adjacent owner. She has no problem with it as long as the land is taken care of. And I believe her address is 3135 Lakeshore Drive. That is the correspondence I received. So as you can see on the drawings, the applicant, or he did explain what the setbacks are referring to. Normally, the property line the road setback is 63 feet to the center of the road. And he is requesting to be 27. He will be, from what I can see, he'll still be on his property by about 10.5 feet. I don't know if there's any other questions the board has.
There was an existing house there at the time. It was just, again, it was the house was a tree fell on it. It was unlivable. And it was a lot smaller. It was only 20 by 30. So again, I mean, it's only 6 feet extra, but that's 6 extra. That's a lot. That's almost doubling the size, but trying to meet the minimum requirement of the house being 24 by 24 layout. So that was the size of the house that I could see that would fit in that application.
I got a question. You own that other big lot.
I do own the one north of it. Yes, I do own that.
Why can't you build on that lot? And
Go ahead. Sorry.
He said, and meet all your setbacks.
Oh, I would have to, there's a large vertical difference. There's probably a good 8 to 10 feet. There's a brand new septic system in this one that the previous owner just put in prior to selling the house. Again, it's a lot of more additional costs that would be set up if I had to move the house to that other lot. But it is an option. I thought I would go with this, try and get the variance first before I started looking into the other application. Because like I said, I would have to add so much more material just to get the footing and the foundation because of the different height differences on, from the one lot to the other lots.
Well, I have a question as to, you commented about like a pre-constructed home that you were gonna put in there.
Yes.
And the shape of that is such that you can't meet the setback requirements. So to me, there's obviously alternatives to the shape. Maybe a mobile home or.
A mobile home is not allowed there.
Oh,
Yeah. I need to meet 24 by 24. There needs to be a box in the layout of the house that has to be 24 by 24. And that was the requirement that I was given to. And that's why I went 20, and again, that was the manufactured house for the 26.
Total square footage, or it has to be that shape.
Both. The minimum square footage is 720 square feet. And someplace in the house, I have to be able to do a 24-foot by 24-foot square. Essentially saying the minimum width is 24 feet.
With that criteria, he can't meet the setback.
Correct. Oh, he's a ways off of meeting. I mean, I don't know if you could get anything in there.
Yeah, I mean, the whole lot is only 49 feet. There's no way I would be able to get 63 from the center.
Well, one of your first form that you filled out, it says, without a house on the lot, we have no use for the land. And I think there's words in the ordinances that says you can have a use for the land. That's your right, but it doesn't, one of the rights isn't that you put a house there. You have a right to use the land. It doesn't say you have a right to put a house. That would be a self-imposed deviation from the ordinance.
When was the previous house taken down?
We took it down in June of this
Of
year.
this year.
After we purchased it. We purchased this in March. My brother and I purchased it in March, and we had a number of contractors come in, and there was no foundation to the parts. It was sinking into the dirt and everything. And if we fixed it up 5 more years, we would have to fix it up again. And it was, a tree fell on it sometime in the last couple of years, and the previous owner just put a tarp over the roof and never got anything really fixed. So it was decided that we would just tear it down and start with a brand new house with some concrete footings, all that other stuff. I already have a contractor set up to if this is a go, to go through and start doing some of the stuff.
Can I ask a question? You keep talking about 24-foot by 24-foot square. He's got a drawing here that's a 36 by 26. Which is he gonna build?
Explain it.
Well, 24 by 24 is
The minimum?
the ordinance minimum requirement.
Okay.
So yes, but it also says you have to get to 720 square feet, which 24 by 24 is not 720.
Somewhere.
500, I think.
Um, 576. So you do have to go larger than a 24 by 24. It's just you can't go any narrower.
Then
And what he is requesting, what was the numbers?
36 by 26, 8.
936.
So that meets the minimum.
It does meet our minimum requirements
Okay.
for
But
size, not setbacks,
right,
obviously.
but it does interfere with setbacks.
Correct.
Well,
And the
existing-
original house had the same problem with setbacks.
Yeah, and one of I think it's on the application, I think he stated that they're very similar.
Yes.
Yeah, it
And
was
I don't
20
know
by 30. It was the previous house was like a 20 by 30. It was somewhere around 80 to 90 years old, so it was an older house, probably maybe even before the street was even there. But
And that's only 600 square feet, so it's well below the required 720.
Right.
But he originally had the setback problem anyway. So now he's gone over the required 720, and the setback is still an issue, but the original house already had that as well.
Was there a foundation under the original house?
I think you said no, correct?
there was nothing, no. No, there was not.
Because when I built mine, we were too close to the lake, but the original house had a foundation that was setting there. So we tore the house down, but we left the wall and we attached the rest of the foundation to that wall.
Right. And he actually, to some extent, he has that option also, even though there isn't the foundation. But he's not going the same, because you have to stay the same dimensions and same location. This isn't, and a big part of that is because it's not going to be that 24 by 24. I know it's tough to see on the screen. That's the house that was there.
Okay. Right there.
Yep. Just above the number, the white numbers there. And I can only get so accurate on the measurement. It was approximately 28 feet to the center of the road. 27.
Where's the boat landing on that map?
Not on the map.
Okay. Is that on the north or south end of Goose Lake? That's just a question at this.
Right there.
Immaterial. Where is it?
Well, it'd be the east end.
He's on the east end. He's way up in there. Okay, the boat landing's where?
Just like 500 feet south.
Should be right here, I
Right
think.
there. See, I have a place right by, close to that boat landing. I have the same setback problems that he's talking about. But it's there. And there's how many of them are the same? There's just a lot of it. Mhm.
Yeah, that's the piece there.
Because, I mean, the current house is going, or the proposed new house is going to be in the similar location, but not, I tried moving it further north as possible. But so it's not going to be in the exact same location, but it's going to be in the similar location as the existing house. I think the front right corner is about the same location from my house to the existing house was about the same.
Can he become closer to compliance by narrowing down his house some and making it longer? Yes.
He could gain at most 2 feet. Because the 26 is including the overhang, correct?
Yes.
So the actual structure is only 24. Because it'd be a foot overhang. So no, he couldn't. Because you wouldn't be able to get that 24 by 24 square.
And this isn't stick built to start. So how are you gonna fight?
Well,
You know, how are
Right.
you gonna do that? I mean,
and the way it's set up is setbacks on the east side are exactly 10.
Yeah.
So he did slide it back as far as he could.
It's looking like it's the overhang is not included on that. I could share my screen. Oh, it's disabled. The floor plan that I have.
I see the drawing now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that would, what
there
you
would
said,
be-
Bob, would be,
So instead of 26 feet, it would be 28 feet.
right, you're actually approving a foot narrower or less on the,
If they
I always
shade the
feel
front of the
better
house
about
with the
approving
eaves.
something if the applicant makes an effort to come in the direction of compliance. If they don't, I'm kind of negative about that.
I still can't understand with this big lot, why it can't be built there. What are you gonna do with that lot, that big lot?
So right now there's a garage that's already on there and that's what we're using for storage and things like that. But like I said, there's a significant uphill slope that goes in there that I would have to fill in just to put a level house on there. So it's not as simple as just moving this location over to there. I have to add up and add a lot of gravel material, dirt into that area just to flatten it out so I can put a house in there. And there was in the previous owner did have what he had like an RV or something there. So but it's not wide enough. It wasn't the 26 or the 30 feet that I would need to have to put some type of structure on there.
He's got a new septic and he's got a well where he wants to put it. And the other place doesn't even have a well.
What you're suggesting is we both compromise?
I want to, Bob's
Give us
heading
2
in a
feet.
direction, I'd like an answer as to what's the elevation difference between the two lots?
I can actually get you that.
You know, I mean, if it's 2 feet, you know, big deal.
We don't have
We do.
topography.
Actually, that's what this is. So 949. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So from the garage to the property line drops about 7 to 8 feet. And then his lot is fairly flat, but it does drop another 2 after you cross the property line.
It's pretty hilly in and around there.
And this property actually was a violation, I believe it was before he purchased it. What he was referring to, it wasn't an RV, it was an actual old mobile home that had been abandoned. And I had issue orders to remove that, and they did.
A walkout on that site is not an option.
That would be up to him. I mean, nothing in our rules.
Again, it's an option, but it's something that I'm trying to proceed with this option before I try to go to that option, because again, it's going to be an additional cost that's going to be associated with it.
You're asking us to change to suit your needs, but you don't want to change anything to help us get to that point.
Yeah, I agree with, I'm in agreement there. You know, if you can show good faith, you know, that you're not just coming here to get something stamped, you know, change something, get a little closer to compliance. You might suggest what you're willing to do to come closer to compliance, and we may talk about that.
If I understand this correctly, if it was the same size, he could do it without, even though the setbacks are still a problem, he could do it if it was the same size. But in our county rules, we are saying that it was only 600 square feet. And in our rules, we also have the 720 minimum. He is accommodating that rule. But by going back to the exact same size house, he's not only has a setback problem, but he also has the problem that he's not abiding by our rules of the minimum 720. So there's 2 problems. So he has addressed the one, but there's still a setback issue to deal with. Now, I have a place right there, and I guess you guys would have to drive out there and look at it, because there's so many of those dwellings are so close to the road that they all have setback problems.
Well,
I shouldn't say all, but
it
a
may be a
good
little
share of them.
late for this, but the county is trying to bring all this stuff into alignment.
Oh,
But grandfathering all this stuff in is not helping.
Yeah.
Because the guy next door did something wrong, he's gonna let you do something wrong. It's gotta stop somewhere.
I think in this case,
And if you didn't have zoning, planning and zoning at a board like this, it would look just like a garbage dump out there. And that's why we're here. We're here to prevent that.
I think,
Basically saying that lot
We're
is
not
not,
here
is
to-
not buildable.
you-
The lot is not buildable.
for what he wants.
That's correct.
For anything.
Or even-
There is nothing you could build on there. It's not what he wants. There's nothing you can put on that property and meet the setbacks.
That's the first lot.
That's-
Correct.
The
yeah,
bigger lot,
Right.
but
you
yeah,
could do a walkout basement.
I don't see why not, Bob.
You could get,
You, the focus should be on the smaller lot
right,
because they are individual parcels and he could sell them separately tomorrow.
we are looking for alternatives.
Correct.
And they do want to build here. I take it that's why they bought the place. Their
I assume so.
desire is to be in that area.
remember,
We only have certain parameters we can operate under.
remember that he could build without even being here.
Do what?
He could build without even being here, the same size as what was there.
Same
I
size.
disagree. There's no footprint.
Doesn't
because
matter.
of the Foundation.
You don't, the ordinance doesn't require one. Because it's under shoreline zoning, as long as you're in the exact same size and the exact same footprint, you can rebuild.
Yes. Remember that.
The issue is that it does not meet the minimum
You know how they,
size.
you know how they solved that on our lake? They put in that little two-story on the south shore.
The what?
They solved the problem of the setbacks. They built a smaller base unit and they made it a two-story.
Correct.
Okay, their everyday activities are on the first floor, the bedrooms are on the second.
So you're saying it's okay to have the setbacks closer to the road because he's got a two-story house rather than a single-story house on the ground? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Because you just got done with the setbacks of an overhang on a building. You just got done, addressing that over here with the overhang. But now you're saying as long as the base part of the house is within the parameters of, you can build bigger up above. I
No,
think that's
it's
what I'm
not
just-
bigger, it's the same size. They followed.
It doesn't go any closer. It's just still.
It's
Okay.
a tall, thin
Yeah,
building.
yeah.
And you're confusing a foundation with an overhang.
No, I'm
The
not-
foundation and the building is legal. The overhang is what's in the setback. And if
That-
necessary, that setback, that overhang can be taken off. Where you can't take off a corner of the building.
You're talking about the last app.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That's a comparison.
Yeah,
She's
I just
making.
want to make sure.
So Linda's saying he can build in the exact same footprint.
Correct.
However, that footprint doesn't meet the minimum size.
Correct.
That's correct,
So
that's what
now
I'm
he's
saying.
gonna alter that same exact footprint. Oh, can't do that.
And that's why he's here.
Is it? It's not the responsibility of this board because there was a house built on it that didn't conform to the square footage mandated by the town or wherever they're in. We can't correct that. The only thing we can do is decide whether or not he can build again by violating the setbacks. So
He can,
that's where we're at.
as long as it's the same 600 square foot.
I'm ready to make a motion.
Yes.
We deny this application as written
Make sure you state your reasons why.
because of the setback requirements are not being met. And
Was that a motion?
that's a motion.
Okay,
I'll second him.
make sure you state your reasons, each of you, when you do your vote.
Okay.
So there's a motion and a
We
second.
deny this in lieu of an alternative provided by the owner as to a buildable site on the property adjacent to this. Okay, he has the option to build on the other property and be legal. Whereas he cannot build on this because he violates the setbacks.
Correct.
Can we do that?
You can deny it you can deny the application. I would be cautious taking into account the other lot. Because he can sell that to me tomorrow. And now he doesn't have that option anymore. Because you can sell those two parcels separately.
What would you have did if he didn't own it in the first place? That's kind of
I
what
can't
he's
hear
saying.
you.
Well, if he didn't own it, what would you have done?
If he did,
The bigger lot.
The bigger lot, if he didn't own it?
well, then
My motion would stand.
it would be to deny.
So then you would make it a non-buildable lot. That's what.
No, I think what Bob is saying, if we talk about a 2-story, you can make the minimum square footage, and I think you can still meet the setback on
No.
a 2-story home,
On the small lot, no.
no?
Because the whole lot, I know there's a motion in a second, but just to answer his question. From the back property line to the center of the road is 61 feet. That's 2 feet short of the required setback. And that's his back property line. So if you actually went 63 feet off the center of Taylor Ave, it's going to take you into the next owner's property.
Did we know it when it's purchased?
Recent. But yeah, so there is a motion and a second to deny the application. Just make sure you state your reasons so she can write those down.
You have your reason?
Oh, I thought I did because it's.
Well, do it during the vote if you want to do a roll call vote on it.
Okay. Ben
I do.
Folds,
Can I ask a question?
Violation.
Bula,
I disagree with the board. I don't know how to say that.
Actually, Bob's is a yes and yours is a no. It's opposite.
But you know what I mean.
Find the, yes, we deny because of setback.
you have to verbally say it, Bob.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh,
You deny.
deny.
I guess.
And the reasons.
And the reason? There's alternates.
I guess mine would be I approve, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And the other thing I want to state is what we're doing is encouraging this type of thing by going ahead and doing it, okay. It's got to stop somewhere. Maybe not with us, but somebody else, but it's got to stop somewhere. We're going to get to oversaturation. Septics.
Well, let me say my piece about that thing. There are people who go to the courthouse, they talk with planning and zoning, they find out what the rules are, and they build and they plan in accordance with those rules. And they don't even ask any questions. They never show up at a board meeting. They just obey the law. It's like driving downtown and you're following some guy and he stops to a stop sign or stoplight, and then he drives on through it. You follow him through it. You both broke the law.
All right, so that's the last public hearing. What's next on the agenda? Next meeting, there is no meeting in November.
There is no.
Sorry, I guess we should have followed up. He's already gone.
There's no.
I'm still here.
No.
I'm here.
But I'm just gonna ask you guys something here. So if this lot stood on its own.
Hold on.
I can't see.
Motion to adjourn?
I make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
All